Good news. New top #1 gaming CPU is around the corner. We don't need new innovations in computer technology. The main reason why the main reason why you need new graphics cards and these CPUs is because they keep making games that are deliberately unoptimized so that you need them. People who make games are arm in arm with people who make engines, are arm in arm with people who build the PC parts. In reality, a well-optimized game these days can be gorgeous and run perfectly well on a computer with like decently old parts, you know? They're just trying to keep the industry afloat. It's like the TV industry. Remember what happened when we reached like the basically TVs got as good as they're going to get? Then they start trying to sell you 4K, 8K TVs. You can't tell the difference between a 4K and 8K TV. You can barely tell the difference between a 4K and a 2K TV. Most people can't tell the difference between a regular 1480p TV and a 2K TV, depending on its size. Yeah, most shows aren't even shot in 4K. Like you have like a 4K TV to blow up 1080p resolution YouTube videos. What are you doing? I do maintain though that OLED TVs were worth the switch up. Yeah, OLED was definitely worth the upgrade. But that wasn't about resolution. That was about having like richer blacks and greater contrast, you know? And that was like a legitimate improvement. They're more power efficient as well. I didn't even know that. Deadlock looks good and the requirements aren't that high. I genuinely don't think there's any need to follow the like computer development rat race. They don't even like, haven't we already like basically maxed out how effective our graphics cards are anyway? They're just adding more cores. Like the processing power of every core within a graphics card is more or less capped out, and now they're just getting like more cores with marginal improvements to every individual core, you know? Maybe there's more work to be done from a CPU side of things, but like genuinely, the games look good enough. A lot of the computer improvements are in power efficiency at this point. I mean, if you want to get like there's work to be done there. Also, games are better when they look like shit anyway, in my opinion. Oh, Snorkel, I don't know. I'm not a computer tech guy. There are people who know way more. If I gave any advice on that, it would be like informed by the lowest possible standard of info that I could possibly have to even be able to talk on the subject. You know what I want in a game? What I've wanted for a long time? I want more games that are in the Kingsfield genre. It's not a very large genre. First-person dungeon crawlers. Every time a game fits within that, like, feel, every time a game has that vibe to it, it's so peak. The atmosphere, wandering around, like, slowly with a mace, and then you go, wha, to hit something. There was a game that I wanted to make a while ago, back when I had a little bit more time to f around with Unity, which was like that, but in an Aztec world. So, like, rather than it being standard medieval fantasy, it would be that. Because I've always wanted a fantasy game set in Aztec or, like, Mesoamerican mythology. I would love that so much. Not just the Mesoamerican thing, but also just, like, more games in the first-person dungeon crawler. Because, and make it be, like, graphically simple, you know? Give it that old feel. Make it like a demake. Make it like the same general PS1... aesthetic that you got from Lunacid or whatever, right? Or maybe up into PS2, I don't give a shit. But like, just, you could make such a huge game. Lunacid had issues with it, but man, the atmosphere of moving around there, holy shit. So nostalgia bait? No. Because nostalgia bait would imply that people only like it because it reminds them of stuff they experienced when they were young. I never played Kingsfield. I never played a single Kingsfield game. I never grew up playing games like that. It would be the point of like low fidelity graphics, in addition to like the nostalgia and the aesthetic and what have you, would also be that it would let you make a very big game. Very big game. It would have to be a roguelike. No, fuck that. Fuck roguelike. No. I want a huge map to explore with secrets and mazes and hidden everythings. I don't want it to be like, oh, you died, we randomize it. Enough with the roguelikes. Enough with them. Enough. Horror games are scarier in older graphic style, methinks. Yeah, I think there's an element to that. That's one of the reasons analog horror is popular. Low fidelity graphic styles mean that you see less of them because there's like, they're obscured through the visuals. I haven't played Legend of Grimrock. I agree the new Resident Evils are crazy demanding for no reason, IMO. They're also not scary. Have you played the original RE2? That game was scary. Action horror, but still. Play the Resident Evil 2 remake, and that shit's a fucking action game, you know? Remarkable how much the fixed camera did for that. It's one of the reasons why Signalis is so good. Because it keeps the fixed camera perspective that helps you feel depersonalized and out of control. Limitations can make it scary. And from what I've seen, From what I've seen in Let's Plays, Silent Hill 2 looks a lot less scary with the remake than the original. The fixed camera perspective and the low fidelity. There was something that I saw in the whatever Zero Punctuation's new thing is called, Fully Ramblomatic, where he said that in the original it felt like you were something the town was dispassionately toying with, and in the new one it feels like it's deliberately putting on a show for you. And I feel like that's a problem with so many modern horror games, where nowadays it feels like a bunch of the horror is like a thing happening to you, set pieces and things are concerned with you. But one of the coolest elements of old horror games is that you have no idea what the fuck is going on, and you're just kind of wandering through an innately hostile environment. I got that same feeling from Signalis too. Nothing in Signalis felt like the game was like, oh, you're important, I'm gonna go after you, you know? In Signalis, it's more like you have no idea what's going on, and you're this desperate little underling ant crawling around a very, very scary world. I think the dispassionate hatred of you is much scarier than Dead Space. No, in Dead Space, the game is putting on airs for you 100%. Monsters will literally, like, crawl out of a vent and do a little dance in the light of a flickering, like, like a flickering ceiling light or something, you know? I agree, Annie. That's the feeling I'm getting it, but it could also be because it's Northernlion playing it, so he's, like, riffing the entire time. Dead Space 2 is still goated. Yeah, I'm not insulting the games. They're good games. I'm just saying that I feel like they don't hit that particular note. In Dead Space, you're the most important guy in the universe, Lamau. Yeah. And I just don't like horror. That's fine. I don't really like horror either. Signalis at some points was just too dang scary for me. Oh, this is also one of the things that makes Deadwood scary. The Deadwood does not feel like, as a game, it is there for you, you know? That is very much not a, like, everything is here for you, paying attention to you. Oh, Darkwood. Sorry. Yeah, Darkwood. I'm a huge fan of the game. I just don't keep stuff in my head. Just I got a sieve for a brain. You know how it is. You know how it is. Deadwood is a TV show. Yeah. I've seen playthroughs of Alan Wake. Nayslayer. You like Stalker games? I played Stalker Clear Sky. Thought it was good enough. Honestly, I feel like I've played all of the Metro games, and I feel like that might have kind of sated me for this particular genre of Slavic post-apocalyptic, you know, storing canned beans stuff. But what was the surprise hit game for you recently? Probably Thronefall. I really like Brotato. Speaking of roguelikes. It's like a what's it called? Vampire Survivors like. Yeah, thank you. You're not going to believe it, but I had that in my head, Wex Newman, before I saw you in chat. Bullet Heaven? That's probably better than saying Vampire Survivors like.